Okay, so you just clicked on this video, and if you're a fan of Bully like me, then you probably just had a mini heart attack. Before I get into it, let me just point out that what I'm about to talk about happened years ago. From what I can tell, this all took place around the time Red Dead Redemption 1 was being developed. Bully 2 might be in development again, especially considering the statement former Rockstar insider Yon2295 made back in 2017. So before you panic, relax, take a deep breath, you're fine, okay? Bully 2 might still happen. Alright, you good? Okay, let's get into it. So back in 2009, Sean Lee, the composer of Bully's marvelous soundtrack, made the following comment. Yes, it looks like I will be doing the soundtrack for Bully 2 in the not-so-distant future. As a lot of you know, nothing came of it. But as time went on, Sean Lee went from saying stuff like, Rockstar recently mentioned Bully 2 to me, but other than that, I know nothing, to, dude, that was a misquote. No Bully 2 that I know of. I wish. Well, as it turns out, Bully 2 was actually being developed at around that time. Recently, the Reddit user Fika122 contacted a former Rockstar Games developer. So before I proceed, I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Fika122. Almost everything I'm about to show you in this video was sent to me by Fika122, so yet again, thank you, Fika. Now, I could reveal the name of this developer. I do know who this person is. But I don't feel like that would be fair, considering that they were kind enough to give Fika122 this oh-so-lovely inside scoop. And, you know, I'd be putting them in risk of getting f***ing sued. So henceforth, in this video, I'm gonna call this developer Ben, because Ben is a solid name, and by doing this, I'm not gonna have to keep saying the anonymous former Rockstar Games developer guy. So, Ben worked at Rockstar New England between mid-2008 and mid-2009. Throughout this time, Ben did quite a lot of interesting stuff, and, get this, he even worked on an unannounced title for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. The current status of this project remains unknown, but considering that Rockstar initially intended to release the game on what is now considered outdated video game consoles, I think it's safe to say that the project either got cancelled or put on hold indefinitely. Okay, so now that I've established all of that, let's get into the actual stuff. This is where I think we should all bow down in gratitude to Fika122 and Ben, of course. Now this is a conversation between Fika and Ben on Twitter. Hey Ben, did you also work on Bully 2 during your time at Rockstar New England? Or do you have any info about that game? Cheers. So this is Ben's response. Since Rockstar never officially acknowledged Bully 2, I definitely can't say one way or another. I definitely can't say that I worked on it for several months before getting laid off when the project was cancelled, nor could I talk about the pranks or the climbing system I definitely wasn't working on. Wow, can you please tell me more about the pranks you were working on? Sounds very interesting, and by the way, thank you so much for responding, I really appreciate it. I distinctly said I wasn't working on them, definitely not adding a tripwire prank, attempting to use the early rope physics from Red Dead Redemption, nor did I add the ability to do a running dive into a garbage can to hide from someone chasing you, or put your back to a column or a tree to shimmy around it to stay out of sight. Okay, no problem. I feel like you already told me enough, but I have just one more question. Can you give me just a little bit of more info on the game? For example, main character, story, or something like that. Such a shame it was cancelled though. The non-existent game was definitely not about Jimmy's summer vacation at his mom's new husband's enormous house. There wasn't a summer camp or a nearby town to explore. You didn't have new step-siblings to cope with. Jimmy as a main character again? Wow, just one more question and I won't bother you anymore. Do you have any idea why this non-existent game was cancelled? Not a clue. I got laid off very unexpectedly. There hadn't been any indication that higher-ups were unhappy that I was aware of. I can't get over the fact that Rockstar cancelled Bully 2. That's so disappointing, but anyways, thank you very much for giving me info about this non-existent game. I haven't worked there for a decade now, so anything could have happened in the meantime. Yes, I agree. You probably won't answer this, but do you know if the alleged concept art images for this non-existent game are legit? Here, take a look. Huh. I distinctly remember the mailman. The rest I couldn't say for certain, but I think it's all legit. Now you might be wondering, how do I know that all of this is accurate? How do I know that any of this is real? Well, unlike people like Mr. Boss for the win, and some gaming news sites I'm gonna savage in my next video, I actually spend time looking into what I report on. And I did this in several ways. I checked Bully's end credits, and yes, the developer's name is in the end credits. I checked Ben's LinkedIn profile, and yes, he was employed by Rockstar New England. I looked up his online portfolio, and yes, that's where I got some of Ben's past experiences from. I looked up Ben's Twitter profile, and you f***ing guessed it, yes, this is Ben's real Twitter account. So, what is the conclusion I've come to? Taking into account that Ben mentioned the early rope physics from Red Dead Redemption 1 being used in Bully 2, and Red Dead Redemption 1 being released in 2010, 1 year following Sean Lee's statement in late 2009, and that Ben was let go from Rockstar New England just a few months prior to Sean's statement, I think that Bully 2 was being developed around 2008 to 2009 before eventually being cancelled in favor of Red Dead Redemption 1. Okay, so I know some of this sounds a bit convoluted, so let me explain what I mean by this. In 2009, a video trailer for Red Dead Redemption was released. Later that very same year, Sean Lee talked about making the soundtrack for Bully 2, quote, in the not-so-distant future. So here's what I think happened. Just a few months prior to this statement being made, Ben was working on a tripwire prank feature which used the same physics mechanic as Red Dead Redemption 1's lasso. The key word here being early. It's far from being finished, and it would make no sense for Bully 2's developers to use an unfinished feature if said feature was already finished in another game being developed by Rockstar. Bully 2 gets cancelled, Ben gets laid off, and Sean Lee gets contacted by Take-Two Interactive. It's possible that Sean had not signed an NDA at this time, and that this was simply a matter of Take-Two Interactive contacting him and saying, hey, we just cancelled Bully 2, and on the off chance we return to it someday, we would like you not to make any kind of comments like this ever again. You haven't signed an NDA, so we're not gonna do anything, but what we want you to do is stay quiet on this from now on. This would explain why Sean Lee now claims that he was being misquoted. Twice, which, if you ask me, doesn't make any sense. I mean, could that have happened? Yeah, but how do you turn something else into this, and then have both of these statements be the results of misquoting? To me, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, you know, I've been contacted about this, and I'm gonna do it, but, you know, that's a misquote. What? Okay, so why did Rockstar Games cancel Bully 2? Here's my theory. Okay, so as some of you may know, Red Dead Redemption 1's development became an absolute cluster of delays, over 800 people working on the game, including some people at Rockstar New England, and over $80 million was being spent on just marketing the game. This immense amount of investments have been made into this game, and the game's developers themselves are becoming increasingly more anxious. Basically, all of these teams behind Red Dead Redemption 1 needed way more time and people. At this point in time, Rockstar Games had 2 titles in the making. One immense spiritual successor to Red Dead Revolver with a huge budget and hundreds of employees doing their damnedest, and some people working on a sequel to a way smaller game. A sequel that, mind you, had not even been announced. And so, Rockstar Games cancelled Bully 2 and thus had to, reallocate some of the human resources department. AKA, they took some of the people working on Bully 2, reassigned them to work on Red Dead Redemption instead, and fired anyone else who they thought wasn't needed. And so, Red Dead Redemption gets the teamwork it needs, and eventually gets released and receives critical acclaim. Then, in 2011, Dan Houser, one of Rockstar's co-founders, makes the following comment on Bully 2. Quote, so, we knew that we didn't want to start doing the Bully sequel instantly at the second with those guys, even though it is a property that, like Max, we adore and might come back to in the future. There was just no impetus to do that then. So, we said, you can do Max, and then we will see what we can do with Bully. So the question I think a lot of you have on your minds is, why haven't we been given a Bully sequel yet? To put it simply, it's because Bully 2 is and always has been a way smaller priority. It sucks, but it's just business, isn't it? But like I said in the beginning of this video, all hope is not lost. What I'm hoping for is that Yon2295's statement about Bully 2 being the next game to be released after Red Dead Redemption 2 is accurate. Which, I have no idea, but hey, a Bully fanatic such as myself can hope. Right? Like Ben himself said, I haven't worked there for a decade now, so anything could have happened in the meantime. By the way, I do have a big video planned to be released in just a few days. I think a lot of you are really gonna like what I have in store, so make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Oh, and if you are subscribed, then please make sure you have the alert bell enabled, because that's a thing. It's like, welcome to YouTube, where you have to follow people twice and manually enable notifications in order to actually be notified when the people you follow upload. Genius. Anyway, that's it for this video. You folks, as always, stay classy. Peace.